Good morning, good morning, good morning. How y'all feeling this morning? Happy Friday Eve. I'm feeling pretty good this morning. I hope you all had a good evening and are prepared to have a great day. Without further delay, we're going to get on into our hot topics news for today. And welcome to the South Florida Gospel News Radio Show. I am in the studio. I'm sitting in here with my dad's leather cap on, his maroon leather cap. My family knows which one I'm talking about, but I put that on this morning because I had to go outside in that wind. That wind is ferocious this morning. And come to find out, we are under we are experiencing here in Palm Beach County in South Florida on the east coast of South Florida from I would say Fort Pierce area all the way down to Miami. We are experiencing tropical force winds. They are saying winds gusting from 40 to 60 something miles per hour. So the National Weather Service has issued a high wind warning for coastal Palm Beach, Broward, and Miami-Dade counties. It was until 1 o'clock. I checked the weather channel right before I came on air, and it is until 4 o'clock. So I believe Dade and Broward County have canceled school for today. I don't know what's wrong with Palm Beach County having school today with the kids who have to walk to school or catch the bus in this terrible wind out here. It's very dangerous out there. Part of our mango tree broke off, so I cleaned that up early this morning, and it's bad. I secured our little patio furniture in the front of the house, moved around my plants, and that wind is like a hurricane. It was like that all night. It rained nonstop rain, not drizzling or sprinkling, straight rain all day yesterday. And so I think it was Channel 12, CBS 12 said to expect 6 to 10 inches of rain between yesterday and today. I think we got it all yesterday. And then the wind just kept getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And last night when I went to sleep, that wind was tearing it up out there and the rain whipping and beating up against the window. And I was like, well, what's going on here? Are we do we have a hurricane coming? Is something they're not telling us? So I did turn on the weather channel, and it looked like the storm as it the what they call upper level low or whatever they call it, as it was moving from the west side of Florida to the east side of Florida, and it got over the waters by the Bahamas. It started getting stronger and stronger, and the wind started picking up. And I remember that happening with Hurricane Wilma when it was coming from west to east from the Gulf over to the East Coast. And as it got over the water on the East Coast of Florida, it kept getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So I don't know what's going to happen with this weather. We are expecting more rain today. I wish Palm Beach County had canceled school for these kids, but you know, I'm not a school board member or whatever, but I think for safety's sake, um, children should have stayed home, but then that would have put parents in a pickle trying to figure out what to do with their kids at a last minute's notice. But anyway, y'all be safe out there with this weather. So it's not expected to get any kind of break or anything until later this afternoon, and that's what they are predicting. And let's see what happens. So make sure you secure your things at home so they don't get carried away. Speaking of getting carried away, we're going to move into our first news topic with this gentleman, Mr. Oliver James was in town. He was brought here by the Barbara Bush Library Foundation. So Barbara Bush is the wife of former President George Bush, the first George Bush, and she loved literacy. And she invested in libraries. Well, anyway, her foundation discovered Oliver James through TikTok. And so Oliver's story is that he did not know how to read as an adult, and he taught himself to read. And he does these TikToks where he goes to different areas, and he reads books to his TikTok viewers. So the Barbara Bush Foundation invited him to come to West Palm Beach to go to an elementary school to read a book, the one that he's holding in his hand there, to read a book to the elementary school children. So they put him up at the Breakers Hotel over in Palm Beach. And so while he was there, he went out on the grassy area, set up his tripod, opened a book, and he was reading his book. So somebody at the hotel that they're blaming on, it was probably just the people who worked there, did not know who Oliver was. Probably thought he was just some random strange black man on the grass over there reading. That was his crime, reading. So the hotel staff said somebody called and reported a disturbance by the swimming pool. Now, Oliver was nowhere near the swimming pool. He was on the grass lawn with his tripod set up reading to his TikTok viewers. So he stayed on TikTok live, and then next thing you know, here come the police and one of the hotel management staff saying they wanted him removed, that he was causing a disturbance. So here is your crime, being a black man reading to TikTok in the grass. And so he kept asking them, what am I being accused of? What laws have I broken? So they said he was causing a disturbance by reading. Lord help us all. Oliver said that he is going to file a complaint against them and he is going to sue them, which I think he should. So the Barbara Bush Foundation found him another place to stay, and he still ended up going to the elementary school to do the reading. So this incident happened before he got to the elementary school. God bless you, Mr. Oliver. And it is time out for stuff like that happening to black people. You just show up and, well, it's private property and they want you gone. Like, really? Yeah. Sue Mr. Oliver. Sue them. Okay, so next, for all you coffee drinkers, you Starbucks lovers, today might not be your day to go to Starbucks. So today is the red cup day, where Starbucks gives out reusable red cups to the customers who come and buy the holiday drink. You know, that pumpkin spice stuff y'all be drinking at Starbucks and everything. So the Starbucks employees are saying, we formed a union and they gave us a raise, but when they did that, they cut the staff. So they're saying a lot of the Starbucks are understaffed, and the staff members, they got to work the front counter, they got to work the drive-through, they have to fix online orders, and they have to do the DoorDash and Lyft pickups when people order food, and you got to stop what you're doing and fix that. And they're saying they're getting worked to death. So they said today, the busiest day of the year at Starbucks, where you get this free reusable red cup, they are going to walk off the job. So when you go to Starbucks to get your coffee this morning, you might have to go back there and fix it yourself. And not all of the Starbucks are unionized. Most of them are. So they've all come together and said, in support of us being understaffed and getting work to death and not getting a dime extra for the extra stuff we're doing, we are going to walk off the job. And that's supposed to be more than 5,000 employees. That's supposed to take place. And it's called a Red Cup Rebellion. Some of them walked out yesterday, but a lot of them are walking out today. So if you go to Starbucks and you don't see nobody and it's very, very slow, just be patient. Or like I said, go back there and fix it yourself. They might call the police on you, but you'll get your free red cup regardless. Okay. Now, in other news, we're going to talk about Mr. Draymond Green and the basketball game that happened last night. In 2 minutes into the game, a fight broke out between one of the Minnesota Timberwolves and Golden State Warriors. It wasn't really that serious for what took place. So I saw the video, and it just made me sick to my stomach watching it, because it wasn't really that serious. There's a little bit of pushing going on, and then it just got escalated, and then players from both teams came onto the court. Some were trying to push each other, some were trying to hold each other back, but Mr. Draymond Green came out choking people. So you can see that he has one of the Minnesota Timberwolves in a chokehold. I can't remember the guy's name. I'm not a basketball expert, but I watched this with Chris, who is not an expert, but he knows all about basketball. And he said, "Oh yeah, Draymond Green is known for fighting." And pretty much that's what the commentator said. Here he goes again. So they suspended Draymond for 5 games, which will cost him $769,000 out of his paycheck because he's suspended without pay. And then he also has to pay a $25,000 fine. My question is this: when will the sports team start putting handcuffs on these people for doing this kind of stuff? Not only was he choking him with an MMA style chokehold, he wouldn't let go and was dragging him across the court. So, when is enough going to be enough? And that's football, basketball, especially hockey. When is enough enough? Well, I've said this for years. This is an assault and it's accepted and people get away with it behind the sports veil. Now, what I saw last night was disturbing to me. And I can only imagine if some parents had their children with them. Hey, let's go see Steph Curry, which Steph Curry wasn't playing last night, but he was there. Let's go see Steph Curry in person. Okay. And you get there and this happens. And your kid is watching these grown men out here fighting and watching somebody being choked out. That's very traumatizing, I think. And some people might say, "Oh, you're being too sensitive. They have video games worse than that." Blah 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 blah. Whatever. I don't want to see that. And the fact that he would not let that man go and was dragging him across the court, and the look of rage on his face when they finally were able to get his arm from around that gentleman's neck. I said, this man is mentally ill. Maybe he's mad about his hairline. I don't know. But he needs some help. Now listen, you have to remember in all cases that people have people who love them. Like that man right there being choked, he has family and friends who love him. And as for me, somebody choked my husband on the court like this. Oh, you're not just think you're gonna show up at the next game and park and get out and go in and change your clothes. Cause I'm gonna be waiting right there for you and bust you in the back of your head with something and get you in the chokehold until they tell me to let go. I'm just kidding. I'm not a violent person. But you have to remember to, maybe this is a man thing. Maybe I'm just being too sensitive. Sometimes I'm too old fashioned, but this right here was just so ridiculous and unnecessary. It started out with a little bit of shove between two players, and this guy ended up pretty much, in my opinion, fighting for his life because Draymond Green just would not let go. And I think the next time Draymond Green fights or chokes somebody or does something, he needs to go somewhere and sit down. And the way you get people is either you put some handcuffs on them or take that money out of their pocket. The money has been taken out of the pocket. And I truly believe it will change some of this stuff when you put some handcuffs on these people. Now, the NBA does have a rule that says if you even swing, even if you miss, you're gone. They're going to eject you from the game. Some of the players got ejected last night. But anyway, that's my opinion about that. Like, Draymond, don't do that again. Don't do it. And Chris was telling me that this is probably some beef that started before the game started. So they was probably texting each other or talking trash, talking about each other mama. Oh, I've been with your girlfriend. You never know. Might have been some online, they get into it on Instagram and all of these other things back and forth. You never know what happened, but it spilled over into the court and that should not have happened because basically they're fighting at work. If I start fighting at work, I'm going to get put in jail and I'm going to lose my job. Point blank, period. So these guys are at work fighting like they at the park on the corner. So I think that the NBA should Look at their rules some more. Football, all of them, NFL. It's just it makes no sense for this to be happening. And that's all I had to say about that. Okay, so we're gonna move on. And yesterday I talked about Marlon Wayans, that his daughter has transitioned into a young man. And so he did give an interview, I believe, with was it Good Morning America or People Magazine? Somewhere he gave an interview, and he said, "I talked about the transition, not their transition." He's talking about his daughter, but his own transition as a parent, going from ignorance and denial to complete unconditional love and acceptance. He said, and I think there's a lot of parents out there that need to have that message, and I know I'm dealing with it. It is a very painful situation for me. Now, I would like to ask Mr. Barton, what makes it painful? Is it painful because you are embarrassed, or is it painful because you feel like you failed as a parent? So, for a lot of parents out there who are in denial about your child's sexuality that they claim, there are so many different categories these days. At the end of the day, they're still your child. You still have no heaven or hell to put them in. And the hope is that parents would be as loving, as accepting as Marlon Wayans is of his new son, um, and others who have daughters, sons who have transitioned their identity, whether you agree with it or not, whether you like it or not. It's just what it is, but that's still your child. So many kids get kicked out, and that's how they end up out in the streets prostituting and on drugs, dead, because that is something that a parent refuses to accept. I once had a gentleman tell me, who was a person in ministry, that said if his daughter decided to date another woman, he would not allow them in his home. And I said, wow. He said, I don't want any part of it. I would disown her. And I said, well, okay, you can feel how you want to feel, but at the end of the day, that's still your daughter. Anyway, we'll get on that topic another time, because you Christian people, y'all just think y'all know everything. Some of y'all gonna get to heaven trying to tell God what to do. It ain't gonna work. But anyway, we'll talk about that if I choose to talk about it another time. All I would say is, Marlon, the pain that you feel as a parent is the pain a lot of people feel because they are embarrassed and they feel like they have failed as a parent, and they want to protect their child from the harm that may come from other people. That might be where his pain is also, because some of us can be so vicious towards people and judgmental um, towards people who identify or transition into another sexual identity. Everybody got some in their family. So don't sit here and think like, oh no, that'll never happen to me. Everybody has someone in their family who has transitioned, who identifies as, you know. Anyway, moving right along, we'll talk about that another time. So the next thing was, and I'm going to touch on this very briefly and move on. The allegations against Will Smith. He is suing the guy. I'm not even going to call his name. We're going to call him Teddy Bear because that's what he looks like. And YouTuber Tasha K. Both of them are probably going to get sued for the slanderous allegations with Will Smith and Dwayne Martin. There's been rumors for years and years and years. And guess what? Unless you have some concrete proof, I would advise you to shut up. Because, first of all, you're dealing with A-list Hollywood when you're talking about Will Smith and his family. So, bro, Teddy Bear, you might as well get ready for it. And also, Jada was on the Breakfast Club talking about this, and she said it is a money shakedown. And the guy wanted Will Smith to fund him or pay something or whatever. And Will Smith said no. And so now it's all kinds of allegations and this and that. And how hurtful this is to Will and the Wayne Martin's family, even his ex-wife. She was married. He was married to Tisha Campbell. So, Teddy Bear, you, I hope you're ready for this ride. Um, no pun intended in that. But Teddy Bear and Tasha K, you already owe Cardi B $4 million, and I would never ever allow someone to come on my platform and spew this kind of information, lies, whatever you want to call it. And as a person in the industry who knows people in the industry who has worked for Mr. Smith, there have been allegations, but nothing like this. So I call it a bullface lie. Teddy Bear, go sit down somewhere. We know you need some money. All right. So I follow Darius Cooks on Instagram and Facebook, and I've even purchased some of his cookware, which I love. I have a crimson Dutch pot, and last night I made a pot of chili, and it is off the chain. I made that in my Dutch pot. I have his cutting board, and I have his everyday skillet, which is wonderful to use. But anyway, Darius went to Smith and Webster last night in Miami. So Smith and Webster is a upscale restaurant, and Darius Cooks. He does these food reviews, and he give it a score of 1 through 5. I think he gave Smith and Webster a 4.5 out of 5 overall for the food, for the presentation, for the service, and everything. And so pictured here is a side of collard greens, and to the right of that is oxtail lasagna. And then below the collard greens is red beans and rice. There's rice under the red beans. And on the side of the red beans was some fried chicken, and it came with a biscuit. And then where it has the +6, there were some more pictures I didn't capture, but that is some, I believe, stir fried rice without eggs and some crispy grilled chicken. So he said the food was good. He was getting a little bit impatient waiting for it to come from the back. But once they brought the food and he started tasting, he also had their macaroni and cheese. He gave that a 5 out of 5. He said it was very good. Now, what he did after that was he put up the bill for what he paid for everything. Girl, hush your mouth. $271.46 for some fried chicken. So let's go through this bill right quick. I do not know what Saratoga is. Maybe that's drinks, like alcoholic drinks, or was that lemonade? I don't know, but it came to like $9 a piece. And it says 1.5 hour brined fire grilled wings. So they give a good description of what everything is on the bill. $19 for the chicken wings. And then he had some the chicken sliders were $18. And then the spinach dip was $15. But look at that oxtail lasagna. $47 for the oxtail lasagna. But oxtails are very expensive these days, but is that expensive? And then he had the Chinese 5-piece chicken. I'm sorry, 5 spice, not 5 piece, because it looks like you got a half chicken with that, which is that 2 pieces of chicken or 4? No, he got 2 pieces of chicken. And then the fried chicken. Girl, they charged $39 for this fried chicken. For 2 pieces of fried chicken, $39, and a side of red beans and rice and a biscuit, $39. And that little bowl of collard greens was $10. And they add the gratuities. You know what? I always check your bill because they got me one time at this seafood place where they automatically add your gratuity onto your bill, which I don't like. And then I still ended up tipping for not reading my bill more carefully, but you won't get me again. And I like tipping the servers in cash because I know that they get it and they don't get what's rationed out by the restaurant they work for. But anyway, since they started putting the gratuity on there anyway, you probably ain't gonna get another extra, but $2 out of me after that. So the gratuity was $38.70. And then they tax you on that too. So the total bill was $271 and Look like 46 cents. 46 cents. So anyway, there are a lot of upscale restaurants that they're pricey, but the food is good and people who can afford it don't complain about it. Um, if you can afford to go to Smith and Webster, please go. I will say that this is a black owned restaurant owned by Star X Smith, who's also called the Hungry Black Man, where he travels around and rates restaurants' foods. But he doesn't just go to fancy restaurants, he does food trucks, trap kitchens. He tastes it all and say, hey, go here and eat here, or the food is trash or whatever. And Darius Cooks pretty much does the same thing. He has an amazing website where he sells kitchen utensils that are very good quality products. He also sells cookbooks, and he has a cookbook you can get online. Amazing recipes. I actually tried one of his recipes last night with my chili, and Chris said it was very, very good. And it was. It was really good. But anyway, that's all I have. So if y'all want to treat me to something for my birthday coming up, send me to Smith and Webster so I can get me some oxtail lasagna and some fried chicken on the side, maybe. Okay. But if you are looking for a good place, I've heard nothing but great reviews about it. It's a nice place to go to and eat, and the inside is beautiful and the food is good, and he has a trained chef who actually came up with the recipes for the spices and every dish that they use. So anyway, y'all, I'm getting out of here. It's time to go. Y'all be safe out here in this weather. We'll be back on Friday with some more hot topics news and some more stuff to talk about. Anyway, please like this video, watch this video again, tell a friend, and I'll talk to y'all later. Okay, bye.